afternoon, everyone out there in our Cats Chat pod. We're so thankful to be back with another episode with Cats Chat. We're so thankful that you guys will be tuning in. We know, well, we already got a few people already watching us live. We're thankful for you guys. Mark, I'm going to try to keep it to make the episode longer so we actually make it. I'm going to hold my excitement. And first, I just want to ask, how are you before we get going too much further?
Well, good evening, Michael, and good evening to you, Johnny. Thank you for that. Yes, sir. Go Cats. Man, I can't help but smile today, and I think you know why. But I mean, going good. I got a busy few days coming up. Gotta be an MC at a couple of events, so gonna be a little busy time.
Gotcha. Of course, myself, today's been a busy day. Always, it seems like my off day is a busy day. Christian, yes. I lost a beard. No one's really said too much about it. Just because I needed a start over, basically. A person at work messed up on his beard and cut his, and I said, you know what? I've been looking for an excuse too, so we trimmed it back. We're going to let it grow. I know it's no shave November, but we're going to let it go now. Trimmed it back to show my double chin. But, Mark, I'm still going to delay. I'm going to wait just a tad bit. But let's talk about something that I know you will enjoy that we kind of mentioned a little bit. I don't know if you know this or not, but everyone that's tuned in right now, you guys are apparently watching right now someone that's famous, or at least in my household, famous. So our dinner, when we have supper, we always try to have the family around the whole table and have conversations, do whatever. Well, my kids like to play games, so it's either name the animal or it's telephone, which, you whisper in it around, see what it comes to. Or Micah loves the name game. So what that is, he had a name in his head of a person, can be anyone. And then we all have to take turns in a row of guessing to try to figure out who he's thinking of. So, first question, boy or girl, or it's yes or no answers from him. So I ask, is it a boy? Yes. Katie asks, is he famous? Micah says, yes. Okay, and then we know who he likes and all this stuff. So I think Christian's like, is it Reed Shepherd? He's like, no. And then I think Kaylin asked, is he more famous than Trent Noah? And he says, yes. So it took a while for us to figure out who it was. And it turns out, but Mark Lawson is famous because he has a podcast and he DJs. So,
I think it's funny that they consider that fame.
To her children, of course, if you really think about it. And it was funny because as he's over here in the next room, was trying to get ready for bed, he watches TV and he said, Dad, is the name of your all's episode like Kentucky shows their age last night? I said, yes. Why? He goes, I got it ready on YouTube. I'm like, well, thanks, awesome. I appreciate it. So,
well, I'm glad to know at least someone thinks I'm famous and not infamous. So that's good. It's kind of funny because I was even talking tomorrow. I have to MC the Harlan County Chamber of Commerce Gala and present awards to people. I'm the one that gets up and reads their bios. And, I asked the lady, I was like, are you guys just hard up for somebody to get up there and read it? Like nobody wants to do it. I was like, because you asked me to do it. And, I said, I feel like a fish out of water because I'm not fancy at all. You get what you see. And like, I don't like dressing up. I mean, I will have to dress up a little bit tomorrow.
I'm hoping you wear dress pants, a sports jacket, and a white T-shirt underneath that has Cats Chat on it.
I probably won't be wearing the Cats Chat shirt tomorrow. I mean, I would love to, but I figured I better wear a button up underneath it. But yeah, I'll probably wear the one suit I own that my wife got me for my anniversary. So, that's the only suit I own. So, but it was just funny. She was like, "No, we think you do a great job. We don't want you to be fancy." And I was like, "How funny would it be if I just showed up in a hoodie tomorrow? Like, just showed up in a hoodie and a backwards hat."
Wear overalls. Please wear overalls.
Somebody said, well, they probably wouldn't think anything about it because that's what you usually wear. Like if you see me out in public, I've usually got on a hoodie and a backwards hat. That's what I wear.
It literally is.
The only reason I don't have a hat on now is because we just got home from church. Hey, Jennifer, sorry I missed that when he flashed that up there.
Sorry. Okay, well.
Glad to know I'm famous, though. That's good.
Congratulations. So, it's been 5 minutes. We've got the episode started. We know what everyone's even hear about, what they want to listen to, what they want to talk about. And guys, you better get in the comments. But let's see if we can just keep it just a little bit longer on the back burner.
Let's talk about it.
but today is a special day. I don't know if you knew this or not, but today apparently is National Signing Day, and Kentucky just had two great people sign their letter of intent. Of course, here's a graphic showing the one of our guys, as you all may know, from Kentucky. I think trying to figure out which one I've got it at. There we go. From Georgetown. That's what I was thinking. We've got, who is it, Mark?
Malachi Marino.
There we go. We are trying to reach out to him as well. I see someone over there on Twitter that says Caleb Wilson next. We hope so. We've reached out to him.
We're hoping so. I've reached out to Caden Lewis as well. Like, I sent a message to him on Instagram, but I don't think he's ready yet.
Gotcha. So we're really thankful that, commitments are great. But as we know, sometimes the letter of intent is more important, more solid. Of course, we had Trent Noah who had a letter of intent, but was able to get out of it, which we're thankful for. So it's a step further. We're glad that we got a center. And, of course, I wish I actually brought this up. I didn't think about it till now. Mark Pope has actually been quoted, and there's some graphics out, that he says that he thinks Malachi is the number one center in the nation with the skill set that he has and the ball handling ability that he has. He thinks he's well underrated. So that's awesome to hear on that, especially when your coach already talks highly of you. And, of course, I'm going to try to bring up another one if you want to talk about the other person as I mentioned this to you.
Michael said showing age here, but I taught one of Marino's coaches. I understand.
Oh, okay.
I'm starting to have kids come through of kids I've taught. So
right. So I mean, it happens. Okay.
The other one that signed today was Jasper. I mean, of course, everybody knows Jasper. We had him on the show last week. Great young man. A lot of fun interviewing him. We had a good time talking to him.
Yes, we did. And I do not see a graphic for him, or at least for him signing. So I'm going to share this other one. Twitter does a lot better as far as the graphics that share on the Facebook. So let me go ahead and bring it up on Facebook.
I don't even know that I saw a graphic. I saw a video of him signing, but
yeah, there's actually a couple that were really nice on it. But here's this one where he's at least at the arena signing, all decked out in Kentucky with family members as well. Mark, that might be the brother you were texting as well, by the way. So thankful to have these two guys sign their letter of intent to Kentucky. So a day after a very great show, of course.
And
so
on the girls' side, they just got a 5-star commitment today.
I'm glad you said that. I didn't pull her up yet. Let me pull that one real quick.
I mean, there's good things happening at Kentucky right now, man.
There really is. I mean, that's just all you can say right now. Of course, hers is not a letter of intent. Hers is just a commitment, which is still great. I'm sure you guys, if you're all on social medias, whatever, you've seen it. But here we go. I got it now. A 5-star recruit, Kaylin Carroll from Massachusetts. A big, I'm about to say big man, but a big girl playing down low will be great. I think she's number 15 in the ESPN 100 for women's basketball. So I don't know if I ever known. Has Kentucky ever got this high of a recruit in basketball?
Girls?
For girls? I mean, I know Ryan did well.
Ryan was a pretty big, Ryan was a big pickup. So
Kentucky girls, I think, are 3-0. Kentucky boys are 3-0. It's a great time to be a Wildcat, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Johnny's got a big comment here. Mark, I'm going to let you bring it in so you can read it there.
Said, I did not get to watch the men's game, but thankfully the feature on the Apple Sports app on my phone kept me informed on the scores and highlights. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, in my opinion, Duke was kicking Kentucky's butt in the first half, but on the second half, boom, we came back. And that's pretty much the tell of how it went. I wouldn't say they were kicking our butt. We just weren't playing great defense. I mean, in the first half, we were getting beat on dribble drives, just not really helping. It's almost like we were having trouble communicating some. So,
real quick, Mikey, I just realized that when I was pulling up that I didn't see that was you. If you got a contact for that coach, help us out. Maybe we'd love to get him on the show. If you got some networking there ability, help us out.
Yeah, I mean, I've shot an email to the AD, but I've not heard back.
Gotcha. All right, so let's see if we can pull up some stats. I shared all those things, and let's get into it. Guys, as you all know, Kentucky played Duke yesterday. It was a great game. 9 o'clock, way too late for my family. Everyone was asleep except for myself, and I think I scared the dog half to death. But we pushed through. None of the kids woke up. The wife did. But you know what? We loved it, and it was great. Mark, what did you think? Let's just keep it small first. What do you think of the first half? Let's replay the first half if you don't care.
We started out in the first half. We were shooting lights out. I mean, we started out from the 3-point line 5 for 5. I mean, so I was like, if we keep keep shooting this well, but let's just be honest, we know a game is long and we know that you're not going to shoot that well throughout the entire game. But I was getting mad because we were breaking down on defense. I was getting frustrated. I texted you a couple times. I was like, we have 3 defensive players of the year on this team, and we're having trouble stopping a dribble drive. And it was bothering me. I was like, come on, guys, what's going on? And I even heard Coach Pope talking to him in the huddle, talking about I felt like on the offensive end we were doing a lot of standing, like we weren't as fluid, we weren't moving as much. But
big in the first half. We see you comment about big time in the second half, but we're in the first half right now.
I brought that up just a second ago. I'll be honest, like I was flustered a little bit in the first half, but then we got to halftime. We were only down 9.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? Considering we didn't play our best game so far in the first half, I'm okay with this. But I'd already made it up in my mind because I was tired. I was really tired. And I told you this. I was like, if we get down by 15 or more, I'm probably going to go on to bed because I'm pretty tired. But you know what, man? We came back and like it was – before I talk about that, what were your thoughts on the first half?
The first half, I felt like, we made a couple of our shots at the beginning. And I thought, okay, I was really determined on figuring that we'd come out a little cold, a little tense, because this is a big game for us on a huge platform in Atlanta, Atlanta Hawks Arena, whatever it is called. I can't remember. But Duke being so highly ranked and so highly publicized. Yes, there we go, I guess. With the Cooper flag talk and just the other guy as well, that I thought maybe they could be, I'm going to use the word scared, but I'm not, just timid, I guess, for the magnitude of the stage. Let me say it that way. I don't think
I didn't know if you knew this, but Cooper Flagg's only 17 years old.
Please tell me that was a joke. Was that a joke?
They said it like 1,500 times.
Like, oh, my goodness.
And it's impressive. It is impressive that a 17-year-old kid can play that well.
Yeah,
and I agree with Eddie right here. We were bullied in the paint in the first half. Like they were just taking it down low.
That's also I think we were bullied even more than just the paint, and that's what I was going to kind of talk about. We hit a couple shots and we were able to start the game great, but then I think Duke made a quick adjustment and started forcing
spread their defense.
Well, it wasn't really spreading. It's just they overplayed the passing lane, so you had to go even farther out towards half court to get the pass on the swing. So we hadn't ever experienced that yet with the Kentucky team. Obviously, these guys and every other school that they went to as they came here probably have to an extent, but these are new guys together in this pan basically now. So I think that was a learning curve for us. It was like, oh my goodness, we're way out here, even though we still had confidence and was pulling it from far out because as the announcers were saying, oh, they're way off of their usual path and it's still pulling it, but we were missing them. So I think it took us a little second to say, hey, we're still fine with our offense. We just got to get into it. I also think we got a little one-on-one on our offense, and that's not Kentucky ball.
Yeah.
We're usually averaging 30 assists a game, or 20, I'll say 25 to 30, and I think in this one we only averaged 17. So I felt like we kind of got away from our own basketball or offensive scheme, and it's because their defense was more aggressive in pushing us. So when I seen we were down by 9.5, I honestly thought, man, this might get to 18 by the end of the second half the way it was going, because everything was going for Duke. Everything was not going for Kentucky as the stretch kept going, and our defense was really struggling on their ability to drive.
Well, so let's be honest too, though, that like the coaches for Duke made a good adjustment there and pushed that the way they were forcing us to push those passes out. Christian said to me just from the start, this team looks so much better than the past 3 Duke games. We may have not started the best on defense, but you could tell it was going to be a different game from the past.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Mikey coming in saying definitely some forced shots. Also, Kerr and Brea were pulling from like 5 to 6 feet outside the arc. Yes, they were, but they can also make that. So
the first shot Brea took, it was an air ball. Like he was way too far out. Left. He finished 2 for 4 from deep for the game. So I can't. I think he knew once he shot that, like he was like, okay, this is not the shot I need.
That was a gut check. That was
and if Kerr had hit that shot that he shot, that second one, after he just hit one from that deep, the roof would have came off that place, because
absolutely. But that's
Kerr,
second half.
I love it. Oh yeah, that was in the second half. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so let's stay first. So first half, we're down by 9. A couple people in foul trouble on both sides. Cooper Flagg, I believe in the first half, which was like 20 minutes, his name was mentioned at least 100 times. And we knew that by then, after the first half, he had a twin that was like a day later than him that he reclassified and, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he's going to play for Maine next year.
Yeah, we knew all this. Maine's never had a person like Cooper Flagg ever come out of Maine. So, like, oh, my goodness. So, all you Duke fans, yes, I'm hating on the announcers. Jay Billis, obviously, you played at Duke. We know that. Only thing you like about Kentucky is their ice cream. Anyways, so first half, in Johnny's opinion, was very wild. Plus, he heard that we had some crazy defense. So, second half, we come back to start the second half. What were your thoughts on that? And, guys, please keep commenting. We'll bring everyone up. We may get lost as we're talking a lot on some of those, but we want to hear how hyped you were by the time we get towards the end of the second half.
Well, let's be honest. We saw something we're not used to in the past 15 years. We made adjustments at halftime. And I'm not meaning that. I mean, I'm not negatively bashing. I'm just saying, but we made adjustments.
Yes.
And one of those adjustments, our defensive intensity picked up. We were no longer getting beat on that dribble drive. I think the referees letting us play a little bit, the physicality kind of favored us in a bit, because we could be a little more physical. We had, I think it was 9 players that scored. So we had different people coming in and contributing. I felt like our intensity level picked up in the second half. We came out on a mission. We looked like a different team. We were helping, we were talking, we were communicating. We would attack the basket a little more, I just felt like we had a different mindset coming out of the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, and that was even mentioned a couple of times, if you seen any reports, is that I want to say it was Brea said that. No, I'm sorry, it might have been Butler. Actually, I think I might have had it saved here. Nope, I'm lying. So came out of after the game, was talking about, when they went in the first half and came out, the name on Kentucky they were talking about is a little bit different what they're ever used to as far as what you're playing for. It said, the level of elite that you have to play at when you wear the name on the front. That's something that we haven't heard from a player in a long time. I want to say it was Butler that said it. So they answered, I think, coming out in the second half. They knew what they had to do. They knew to step up their intensity, and they did. And, of course, as we get going on into, I say, the 10-minute mark coming down, we even see more adjustments as far as not only defense, but even alignments. We've not seen, Carr play 5, I don't think, long at least. It's either been Williams or Garrison in at the 5 spot. I'm sure at a few games, maybe for a few minutes, just because we were up so much anyways. But Pope was able to make those adjustments mid-game and respond greatly from our team, from our young guys that are old. So it was great to see a coaching change mid-game. And I say that, again, Mark, like you. I'm not trying to be any shot at the other guy, which I'm trying not to mention that name at all. What else impressed you as we kept on going?
Like I said, the intensity is what impressed me. Like I feel like guys stepped up. They knew what their role was in that time, and they stepped up. Like Butler made a couple sweet plays to the basket for some and ones. And as Walt says right here, I think our rebounding improved in the second half. We cut down on turnovers in the second half. Man, there was one point in the first half that I think the turnovers, we had like 5 and they didn't have any.
They had 1 at the end of the first half. I know that.
They had 1 at the end of the first half. But I'm saying at one point, I know they didn't have any turnovers in the first half, because I remember them bringing the graphic up and I was just like, man. I was kind of like Coach Pope, though, in that first half. I felt like we were more standing on offense, waiting to get an open 3 rather than looking to make backdoor cuts. And, and you heard Coach Pope in the huddle when he was mic'd up, he said, make declarative cuts. Means, it's his fancy way of saying, make good cuts, make strong cuts. When you go to make a cut, do it. Like, I just
and there's
feel
times
like,
too where people fake those cuts, and there's some miscommunication. It's an easy turnover, and I think it's too like, hey, if you're going to cut, make it known that you're cutting. Don't fake it.
And there's a lot of people that are talking like, yeah, but you got to realize this was an experienced team against a younger team. Now I'll give you that.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard people saying that, and I get it, but you weren't saying that before the game started. Everybody was like, Duke's going to run them out of the gym.
Yes.
While we are an experienced team, we're experienced with other people. We're not experienced playing together. We have this is probably the biggest game that a lot of these kids have ever played in, outside of Butler, who played in the Final Four. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest games any of these kids have played in. I mean, let's be honest. And I love the fact that we came out and we didn't let the pressure get us right off the rip. But I feel like once that second half came around, we were on fire, man. Like it was like somebody just lit a fire under us. And that all starts with the head coach. One thing I love about it, I never seen him get flustered.
Yeah.
I mean, he's poised in what he's talking about, and he knows what he's talking about, and he knows he's a leader. He's what a leader should be. And I love that. And I love the fact that he celebrates with the kids after a win. I shared that on our page. Kentucky Insider had that video of them getting the water bottles and going in there, and you see them all jumping around. What I love about it, even the guys that aren't in the game at the time, they're active from the sidelines, cheering that team on. I mean, I loved our intensity in the second half, and I've said it over and over and over, but like Carr really, really, really impressed me.
Yes.
Moving to that 5 position, like you said, which was a heads-up call by our coaches. And it was just very, very, very impressive the way that Carr responded playing that. It was Oweh impressed me. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of people are going to hate him, but I love the intensity from Kerr.
My goodness.
It's crazy. And I love it. We need a little bit of crazy. It's like, I don't know, the yin and the yang. He's got to keep it balanced out there.
I didn't realize this. Our bench outscored theirs 25-6. I want to talk about that just a tad bit because I'm the kind of guy that listens kind of distinctly on what people say sometime. And Jay Williams never once said anything, or even Seth Greenberg said anything at halftime about Kentucky. It was Duke this, Duke that, flag this, flag that. Jay even took a moment to say, I never thought I would say this, but this is the best Duke team in talent and depth that I've ever seen since he played.
And I wouldn't disagree with him. The talent level I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to face that team come March because they are young and they're going to learn as they go along.
Absolutely. But to me, okay, we won. Where was our recognition conversation going on? It's halftime on a national game here, nationally televised game. You don't just get one-sided. You say, hey, Kentucky's going to get there. Kentucky's playing fine. This game is not over. We know that. But there was nothing. It was just all praising Duke because they were up by 9.
I will say this for Jay Williams being a Duke guy. I don't know if you watched any of after the game. He did give Kentucky props.
We won. Of course he can now. Heck, the whole world is doing it now. Kentucky beat Duke. They're good. No, there wasn't one person that really felt like we would win the way that we won last night. Even Kentucky fans.
I'm going to be 100% honest
that we would win because we won it.
Even the way we came out and played in the second half, I would have been okay with a loss last night. I wouldn't have been upset because we did not play a great game. We didn't. Let's just be honest. And we won.
Yeah. And oh man, I even think there was someone on ESPN afterwards, and I seen somebody quote it later, and I thought I was thankful that someone actually picked up on that too. One of the ladies that are on ESPN said that Kentucky played so well, this is crazy. Have they already peaked? What? Because we beat Duke, we peaked? No, we're still learning each other. To me,
it's a new team. It's
Robinson was a no-show. Robinson was a no-show last night. And actually, ESPN, I didn't see this one. Top 10 went over and Robinson only scored 1 point. Yeah, Mikey, perfect comment as I was going to this. to me, Robinson is almost, and I'm not trying to dog him here, guys, so just listen to me. I feel like Robinson's got to buy into the team concept with these guys. I don't know if he feels like he's got to create his own and not getting in the flow, but to me, if Butler can stay upright and not fall like every 5 seconds, we look better with Owega, that's not right. Away, Butler,
Otega?
Yeah, Otega, there we go. Butler, Carr, I like Garrison, and even, of course, Kerr in there as well.
Some intensity last night, and I loved it. And I agree with Caleb right here. When Robinson shut down, basically, and you're able to have those other guys step up, that's huge in my opinion. And
absolutely.
We've been talking about Carr. Carr really impressed me with it. Like, I love the fact that he's not afraid to take that outside shot, and I think that really helped us out in a bit because in the beginning of the game, we had Williams playing there at the top of the key. He's not a threat to hit that shot.
Carr is backed off big time.
Carr is a threat to hit that shot.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't really back off of him up there. So it opens up some of those backdoor cuts and things of that nature. But, yeah, I think all of us as Kentucky fans were tired of hearing about Cooper Flagg. I mean, I'm giving my props to the young man's amazing. He's a good ball player.
7 foot and can do what he does.
He does get away with pushing off a lot, but as part of that's youth, he's going to have to be careful with that because in some games they will call him when he extends that arm.
Did you know he's 17?
I heard a lot of people at halftime yesterday, man. I think some Kentucky fans were already ready to give up. I swear we're bipolar.
I was one.
I was frustrated, but I wasn't going to give up on the year.
Oh, no. That's extreme. Yes. No, I'm sorry. Not that. I just mean I thought, hey, we're going to lose this one. I'm still there cheering them. I stayed up the whole time. But I want to talk about Williams just a little bit too, since you kind of mentioned it. I'm going to say this, and I put it on Facebook, and I had one person say that the person I compared him to went number 1 overall. Williams has talent. Williams has skill. Williams got the size and has the ability. I feel like Williams needs somebody to just coach him one-on-one about his moves. There's so many times that he really carried the ball or even walked with it as he got in, but the size and the distance that he could cover while he just backed the man down, and it was just almost like a turn-away, fade-away. And I'm like, okay, as big as you are and athletic as I can see, if you take that drop step when you turn and go to the goal, ain't nobody stopping you. So, I mean, I don't know what needs to go on there, but there's something that's missing in his game that little old couch potato me is noticing, and that's why I think we looked better with Garrison. I think Williams has the talent and can improve and be so much better. But right now, I'm a little hesitant about the playing time that he does with the team. So we got to figure out how to get what good he is involved in the game because their big guy was battling with him, but Williams was moving him anywhere he wanted to, really. He just never converted anything. He's got to learn to be that finisher. And one thing I always told big men when I coached them was, in the little time that I have coached, when you turn and fade away, there's so much more distance that you're shooting. But if you drop step it to the go and go towards the rim on your attack, there's so much less that you can get blocked and less of an error on your shot. So he needs to go to the go on his attacking. And there's one time he turned around and did a flip that he shot it, and the shot was so flat it hit the back of the rim and it kind of just died and went in. Nobody thought that was going in, but luckily he did get that to go in. So Williams has it. We just got to figure out how to get him in there. Like I'm thinking Olajuwon, like he needs to go have a summer with Hakeem Olajuwon and just work on some big moves because it's there. He just got to learn it.
We used so many different lineups during the game, so Duke defense couldn't truly figure out how to stop us in the second half. I agree that helped. Johnny says, I was surprised when I saw no picture on Facebook, and I did see this. Jim Caldwell shared this. Back in the 90s, Pope was being interviewed by Phil Pendleton, and Pope actually gave his prediction that if he'd become coach, Kentucky would beat Duke, and it came true. So that was kind of cool.
Yep.
Anthony says Williams going one-on-one against their monster big was certainly a strategy.
And I think he held his own as far as what he did. He just never could actually score. So Garrison came in and he gives them more, fire really. It's the guy coming off the bench and scores 2 points. You're like, all right, let's go with it. And Kerr, man, I don't care what goes on. He is just waiting to be ignited for a flame for us. Did you see where the one guy kind of pushed him and he just kind of looked at the ref like, come on, man, that's child's play. Like, let's go. So, man, there's a lot of excitement going on with this. So let's move on.
Impressed with Con as I was Cooper.
With who?
Con Knappel.
Oh, yeah.
I was as impressed with him as I was Cooper Flagg. He's a very athletic freshman as well. But man, let's talk about the history of the CBS Classic for a minute.
Okay.
I want you to think back how many games, and I agree with Anthony right there. If Kerr's heat check would have gone in, he would have exploded. I think me and Michael talked about this at church. I said, I think the roof would have blown off. Like people would have been going crazy because he was feeling it. And I don't know if you heard this side story. He was being, he had some comments at the beginning of the week about playing Duke. And one of the things that got me was he was talking about, oh yeah, Cooper Flagg's going to go first in the draft. And he wasn't being crazy about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like, it was kind of a sarcastic comment. So Duke fans were riding him. Okay. Duke fans were giving him a hard time about his mustache. Right. And he said, I went back after the game to find him to say, hey, the stash won, and he said they were gone. So he said, if there are any Duke fans out here that are, that were riding me about my mustache, just know the mustache won. He's also the same guy they said in an interview. Somebody said, hey man, we love the way you play. And he said, I know. And yeah, I know that Con didn't, he put up a lot of shots. Like luckily he was a little cold because he usually can knock down those outside shots. But I was impressed with his ability to get to the basket. He did a good job when the shots weren't falling to get to the hole. And I agree with Christian when Carr dropped down, it really did wear that guy out. And let's be honest, man, I think the thing that got me was, they had a lot of cramping. You even talked about it with me that a lot of fatigue.
They look gassed. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they look fatigued. They look gassed, and I think injuries even kind of showing with the cramps and everything going on. That I think Kentucky just wore them out. I mean, literally just stayed in shape, wearing out. The fast tempo that we're used to playing, we really wasn't able to do that fast tempo, but conditioning for it as we've been playing. Yeah. Plus our 9 guys that were able to rotate in. I really think it just showed the longevity of what we can withstand in our conditioning.
Now, what I was going to tell you about the CBS Classic now, if you go back the last 7 years, okay, the first one we played, I think 2017 was Kansas. Lost that game 65-61. So close.
Since you gave me time to talk or to look up something, I've got it pulled up.
In 2018, we played Duke. Lost that game 118-84. I think you remember that one. Is that the one with Zion where they absolutely just roasted us?
I think so.
Then we played against Michigan State in 2019. We won that one 69-62. We played Kansas again in 2020. Lost that game 65-62. Another close game. Played Duke in 21. Lost that game 79-71. Played Michigan State 2022. Lost that game 86-77 in, I think, double overtime. And then last year we lost to we lost to Kansas 89-84. Mm-hmm. You look at Mark Pope coming in. He's the quickest Kentucky men's basketball head coach to get a win over an AP poll ranked opponent in school history. In his third career game, the only other 2 that did it, Eddie Sutton and Tubby Smith, both had victories over ranked opponents in their 5th career game at the school. That's impressive in and of itself. They kept saying last night, too, Kentucky led the all-time series 12-11.
Yes.
But Duke had won the last 9.
Yes.
So it was almost like getting rid of a bad habit last night. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It just felt
and I love that you said that too. We got to clip that and just put that out there. That was getting rid of a bad habit last night. Love it.
I mean, it was almost like the roles were reversed, man. We changed up what we were doing. We adjusted. We had plays. We had strategy put into place. And then on the flip side, you had a coach that gave it to his star player and said, go make a play. And guess what? He turned it over twice in the last minute or something of that nature in the last 2 minutes. So
he turned it over twice in the last 2 possessions that could have been that were crucial for them. And then also did not box out 0-0 to seal the win for us. So throwing that out there.
Christian said right here, for how much ESPN pushes Flag being the greatest player in the country, when it came down to it, he was the one that had the freshman mistakes when it matters the most. 2 turnovers and not boxing out costed them the game. And I agree with that. But like I said, he's only 17.
How old is he?
Listen, that is an excuse. It's youth. It's going to happen. But
we don't have that excuse. And it feels so refreshing that we don't have that as an excuse. Now, what we did have as an excuse, we hadn't played together. But
Anthony brings up a good point. How do we feel about Shire deciding to rely on Flag going one-on-one rather than trying to draw something up? Well, here's the kicker to that. I think Kentucky knew they were going to try to go one-on-one, and that's how Owe was able to step in there and take the ball away. When he came down the lane trying to go one-on-one, Owe just kind of fluffed off his guy, and when Flag kind of dribbled long, he just stepped in and took that ball away. So
he'll take it away.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But with that too, finally, that's not the excuse. Yes, Christian. But my thing too with that play there that you're talking about is anytime, one-on-one basketball, when you can see the back of the head of the guy who's supposed to be defending you, you're supposed to back cut. It's just instantly you're supposed to cut away from him. And that guy stood there. He ball watched. So if Duke was more aged, I guess here we could say, could we possibly had seen someone backdoor that and had an opportunity where Owe was out of position because of that? I don't know. The one-on-one on the isolation on the other side, technically that's what he drew up, So that's what he wanted to do as a coach. But here's the thing.
Let's be honest. That probably was their best opportunity at getting a bucket.
To me, I hate to say it, his name, because it sounded so weird hearing it so much on ESPN, but Knipple? Like, his name kind of went away there in the second half, too. Like, they got away from what they were doing in the first half. And
I'll tell you a player I think that was underrated that played well for Duke was Proctor.
Proctor, another one, yeah. But the one-on-one there, they isolated the left side of the court, and, Flag just went down there and got in trouble, and we made a play, basically. So, here's the thing, and I hate when people – and I'm not saying that to you, Bert, but I hate when people want to question coaches on what they designed, because if Cooper Flag would have went baseline, spun, moved back to the middle, and did a fadeaway, and it buckets, we lose, he's the greatest coach for trusting his 17-year-old to do that. So that's the only thing that – because it failed is the only time people question the call, So,
well, I think all of the country, as much as they talked about Flag during the whole broadcast, everybody knew Flag was going to have the ball at the end of the game.
Yeah, why would he not?
Kerr even said in an interview after the game, he said, I wasn't being sarcastic. Dude is probably the number 1 draft pick. He said he's going to be the number 1 draft pick, but we won the game.
Yep.
And that's the way Kerr put it. And that's it. He is a good player, but it's just I don't know. I tell you, the first stat I gave you there about Coach Pope being, the quickest to beat an opponent. I got that from Kyle Howard. He was posting some different stats during the game. Okay. Here's one for you. Our largest halftime deficit in a win over an opponent that was ranked in the top 6 of the AP poll. We came back and beat Duke, being 10 points down when Duke was ranked 3rd in 98. We came back from 10 points down against number 5 Ohio State in 1959. And we came down from being 9 points down versus number 6 Duke last night.
Really? So LSU was ranked when we came back from that 31, but I can't remember what they were ranked.
I don't think they were in the top 6.
No.
I'm just saying, man, it's kind of a storybook being written right now for Coach
beginning.
Pope. Yeah.
Like most of the time you want to say storybook ending, but this is a storybook beginning.
And I think a lot of that has to do with his humbleness, man. He just wants to coach, and he has a love for Kentucky basketball.
Yes.
And he's instilling that in these kids. I don't know if you saw the interview with Owe after the game, talking about having that name Kentucky on your chest. You're playing more than just for you. You're playing for the nation.
Yes.
And he's talking about Big Blue Nation. They know how important it is to a lot of fans. Now, let's be honest. I don't live or die by these games. Like, yeah, they can affect my mood for a split second, but I'm not going to sulk and be like, I'm never rooting for them boys again. I mean, I'm going to be a Kentucky fan till the day I die.
KY till I die.
Yep. It was great last night, man. It was just, I don't know. It gave you the feels from
the change
called the backer days.
The backer days. Don't make fun of him.
He called it the backer days, talking about the past. It just brought back, man, it's what Kentucky basketball is all about.
Yes.
It gave you that nostalgia of just the old Patino teams. Let's just be honest. And what about Patino was talking good about it, like too, saying he wasn't surprised the Cap got a win last night, and
never doubted.
I think a lot of people lost money on that game.
I'm sure they did. I wish I would have made money, but I don't do that. I lose too much. But yeah, in a serious note, as far as the end of it, we've talked about the first half. We've talked about the second half. We've talked about Cooper Flag. I apologize. Now the ending we've talked a little bit about, and we're talking about where Pope even said in an interview on the court where the lady was like, "This is great for you. Congratulations. You did it so fast." And he actually says, I've learned about 5 or 6 years ago, it's not about me anymore. And just the humbleness like you're talking about. And honestly, the childlike attitude he has. Because, there's the video where he was opening up like 6 water bottles. And before he went in, Mitch Barnhart, who all we see of him as of the past 5 years I'll say 3 years is he looks like the Grinch. He's got a lot of stuff on his plate right now with the Stoops, whatever goes on there, the not firing of Calipari, the who do you hire after so many people kind of, I won't say turned it away, but weren't the right fit, and we get Pope. He was the first one that took off in there with a water bottle to start cheering and throwing everywhere. So, man, the atmosphere that Pope has brought back to Kentucky basketball has been wonderful to see for the fact that the kids are saying the name on the front. Oh, this is BBN's team. This is for you fans. It's great. And honestly, I don't want to keep saying, which I have. I don't want to keep saying this is like it's Patino time. But Pope just was able to outcoach Duke's coach and the number 6 overall team and win. This is Pope's time. Like, this is how we're going to be. Like, this is his era, what he's going to continue to do. So, guys, let's buckle up and ride on.
Well, it's funny because, I feel like it's what Michael's saying right here. Culture is one of the most important factors for the entire fan base. And I feel like we were in a culture of, I knew we were going to have a good class. I knew we were going to have, so who's the next new superstar we're bringing in? I knew that was coming. But it was the same old song and dance and the same excuses year after year after year after year. And it got to the point where I wasn't even really excited about the season. I was excited about seeing who we got in the draft or who we got coming in. That's what I got more excited about. Now I'm excited about ball games. I want to watch ball games. I was kind of out of that after a while. I mean, if I caught the game, great. If I didn't, oh well.
I caught myself, and it is what it is. I caught myself calling the players by their numbers in the past 5 years. I mean, obviously I say 00 because that's just awesome of a number, but like, can't tell you who the name is on the back because it changes so often when the other person was there or the former was there. And it was always like, okay, you get to know them, and by the time you know their last name, they're gone or they transfer, gone. So, I mean, it's nice. And I say that because also I'm going to share this real quick because I think this is looking way too far in the future, but it is out there now. And this is kind of talking like, here's a quote from somebody on Instagram that says, if OA comes back for a senior season, then Kentucky is my preseason number 1 for next year. And it's talking about the recruits that we have coming in, of course, the Jaspers. Can
you imagine his intensity with Jaspers, man?
My goodness, that would be amazing. But the fact that it's even a consideration right now that, hey, he may come back. We're not used to that. We missed that because we had to wait to see who was actually going to go pro. We had Daniel Orton in the first year go pro when he should have stayed back.
Never should have. No.
Eric Bledsoe, who had a decent career in the NBA, but was probably should have stayed another year. Oscar Shibwe could have stayed another year, but because of who we are and what's going on, went pro. there's so many players that you could go through the list and say, okay, they probably should have stayed. But they didn't, because that was kind of the process that we were in, the succeed and proceed.
I'm going to be honest, though. I feel like at times players were pushed out.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
they knew that they had to, because the crops that were coming in were going to take their playing time. So it's like, I've got to do something. Mert says it's also crazy that this rebuild had such a short time behind it.
I said it's like a Frankenstein team. That's what he did. It's like Pope is your Dr. Frankenstein, and he built
it was a quilt.
Well, it is like a quilt too. All these beautiful pieces coming together to make a masterpiece. But I'm saying, I need to put that on a shirt, trademark that or something, like the Quilt of Kentucky. They came out with cover-up defense in the second half. Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, guys. Now you're seeing the real side of Mark on here.
Dad jokes coming out, man.
Let's see here. Christian said we had players that felt like they was pushed out because of who else was coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like some were like, yeah, go ahead and go for it. And,
yeah, it's like, hey, if you stay, your playing time's not going to be there because we have 5 stars coming in. And I've already promised them to start. So, that thing happens. But again, I don't think it's a problem now. We got 9 players right now that are killing it basically for us. Yeah. And not one time have you heard anyone mention a platoon or any kind of stuff like that. 9 players is deep.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't think about this until just now, but did you ever really pay attention when people were subbed in or out? It's like, oh, that was a momentum killer for that person. There was nothing like that.
There were a couple of times where I did tell you we got to get Oway back in this game.
Back in.
I told you we need to get him back in because of his intensity.
Right. I'm used to, with the former, hey, Kerr hits 2 threes in a row. Oh, he's got to go out. I don't know why. It's like he automatically, he's doing too much. He's got to come out, This one was a flow.
A lot of people are downing on Jackson Robinson because I feel like people are saying, the moment was too big for him and all this. And I get that he didn't have a good game. We all have games like that. But I did like the fact that he still played with defensive intensity in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't let his bad offense turn into bad defense, because that's when the problems arise. If you're having a bad shooting night, you can make up for it on the defensive end. And I felt like he did down the stretch in that second half.
I'll give you that. And I'm with you on that. So, even the 2012 team, Anthony Davis in the championship game said, my shot's not there, guys. You all score. I'm going to play defense. So that shows leadership. For him to be able to do that. What's up, Justin? Thanks for getting on here with us.
Oh, buddy.
Mark, we've talked about the game. We've done all this. I'm going to share my screen. I think it's ESPN of just the stats. Let's talk about at least the end of all the stats and how everyone played here, okay?
Mert said he probably felt that pressure because he wants an NBA career and he had a big stage to show it and he had a rough one. Yeah, I think they said there were like 70-some scouts there last night.
Yes, that's crazy. So – Duke had 71 shots on 28.
You really think I can see that from my screen? Golly, that's small.
You can click on your on the screen, actually blow it up, just so you know.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Instead of seeing the comments over there.
Magic.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, so Duke was 28 of 71. Kentucky was 25 of 62. Of course, we'll get to the offensive boards that they had on there to make up that difference. Shot 39%. We shot 40%. From the 3, they were 4 of 23. We are 10 of 25. Game changer right there, basically. 3-point percentage, they shot only 17% from 3, while we shot 40%. They shot 12 of 17 from the free throws. We shot 17 to 24. That looks like it's our favor, but down the end, they were doing the fouling. At one point, I seen it was 17 and 19. We both shot 70% from the free throw. They had 45 rebounds to our 41, but they did have 12 offensive rebounds. We did have 9, but 12 were crucial ones for them and got them some extra shots. Now, here's one that kind of bothered me a little bit, and I think it kind of shows or transpires to what was going on in the first half in my eyes. They had 12 assists. We only had 17. We did beat them in assists, but our whole system is about moving that ball around and passing it to the open guy. And I felt like we got away from that at the beginning.
And part of that was Duke played really good defense in that first half. They really did.
Yeah. Steals 5-4 in favor of Duke. Blocks 5-8. We had 8 blocks. Didn't know that. For a team that only had 1 turnover in the first half, and that's Duke, they finished the second half with 6. So they had 7 total turnovers to our 10, which is great for both teams, in my opinion. Points off turnovers, they had 15. We had 9 fast break points.
Let's talk about those turnovers for a second.
Go ahead.
In the first half, Kentucky had 7 turnovers.
Okay.
And second half, they only had 3. In the first half, Duke only had 1 turnover. Second half, they had 6. It just shows that turn.
Yeah. I mean, that really was the changing point for us, too. Of course, Zach comes in and says, we've kind of talked about some of this, guys. Y'all coming in a little bit later. Obviously, we want to bring up your comments still anyways, but Kerr really brought the good energy off the bench, and you really liked him in a way on the floor together. I really think that's our Reed and Rob right there possibly for this year. But going back to some of the stats here, let's see, that's the wrong screen. Fast break points in the paint, they were killing us 46-26. And, I kept hearing a lot of harping about they're killing us in the paint. We have size, but, guys, we know Pope is all about the three-pointer, so I'm not really for sure why we were so caught up in the points in the paint so much, because Facebook, media, and all this stuff was all like, oh, man, they're killing us in the paint. We can't score in the paint. We've said for the whole year we're going to shoot more threes than twos, so that's going to happen with that points in the paint. Fouls were even 18-19, no technicals, no flagrants. Largest lead, they had 10. Our largest lead is 6, and we won by 5. So
I mean,
that was
we went the last 3 minutes and 22 seconds of the first half without a field goal.
In the first half?
Did you realize that?
I did not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, honestly, we had bad moments, but we stayed poised and had great moments. And I say the word poised, which reminds me of talking about some of the players. Carter is so poised as an athlete. He doesn't ever seem out of control. He does lack a little bit of ball handling, as Jared mentioned to us in a comment, but he doesn't do anything that he can't do. And if I had to name a player who he reminds me of, even though it's not the right position, for Kentucky, it's a Darius Miller his senior year. Darius Miller never did anything great, but what he did was so good and always under control and in the right play, in the right moment. And that's what Carr kept doing to me. There's a couple shots that he looked awful at shooting and got blocked early, but then he almost did the same thing and was making them. But it was at the right time that he was making certain plays. Darius Miller would come down the middle, get that ball, 2 dribbles across the other side of the paint, and just hit a floater from jumping that looks like 12 feet and putting it in. I kind of felt like Carr is going to be our leader on that. Hey, we need a bucket. Just let me do the fundamentals and get to that spot and get a bucket. So there's my comparison with there. Hopefully you guys like it. Whew, we're at 53 minutes. We talked about the whole game. The girls, of course, we know won as well.
Girls won, man. They're playing well. They're blocking really well.
Yes.
They shot the ball really, really well in the first half of that game that they played. I got to watch it as well against, was it Wofford? I think is who they played.
Yes.
So, I mean, they didn't shoot that great down the stretch, and I think Coach was getting a little frustrated with them because they ended up with a big lead and not the best decision-making when you have a comfortable lead sometimes. So
Yes. But they do have a great matchup coming on this weekend, this Saturday. Kentucky girls take on Louisville. I think it's at Lexington, of course, but I'm trying to see right now what they are ranked, because I know both girls are ranked at this moment. I want to say it's like 21 and 18, but I think we just moved up to 20. I apologize, guys. I should have had this prepared before I started talking about it. Okay.
Big old long comment I can read if you need me to.
Well, Louisville's ranked 18th. Kentucky is ranked 20th on this matchup, 6 o'clock on Saturday. Go ahead.
It says, yeah, girls do have a big game with U of L on Saturday. You are right.
That's what I was just saying, Mert.
It says, please excuse me for getting off topic on this, but I've been getting on a bunch of Kentucky fans for talking and even trash talking about the former Kentucky men's basketball coach who's currently in Arkansas. But I made a group page called, and sorry for mentioning this group's name, but Cal's Piggies. And it's for those freaks who refuses to quit talking about the former Kentucky coach. But unfortunately, they won't listen and understand that we're in the Pope era, a.k.a. the really and then it doesn't show anything. I think he means the really good era.
I actually think there's more to it, but I don't think it'll pull up the rest of the comment because it's got the ... dots there. Yeah. So I think Johnny wrote a novel for us there, but sorry, Johnny, on this StreamYard, it won't show all of us or all of the comments there.
But yeah, I do get tired of people talking constantly. It's going to happen this year, though. People are going to talk about Cal, and they're going to talk, oh, Arkansas lost to Baylor. I mean, I keep up with it. I like, some of those kids that played here, I do like watching them. I like Big Z, man. I like Thoreau. I hated when he left.
Thoreau, yeah.
I mean, I don't care to watch him, but I'm not going to root for Cal. I mean, I wish him all the best. I'm a Kentucky fan.
Yeah, I don't want to celebrate his losses because that makes me feel like I'm down. That's something I've always talked about, like the L's down. To me, if we're celebrating their losses, it puts us at their level. He left us to go there. So if he loses, what is
comforting as a fan, though, is when you can watch one of those games and be like, I remember when that happened at Kentucky.
Oh, my goodness. Have you seen – I'm pretty sure KSR, Kentucky Sports Radio, put a clip out, piece together that someone did that if you close your eyes and listen to his press conference –
it sounds just like –
it sounds like he's coaching Kentucky. And it's like, okay, all right.
I have no ill will toward him at all. I just kind of feel like the game outgrew him, if that makes sense. Like the strategy – of everything right now in college basketball, the landscape of college basketball, he didn't adapt to it.
COVID changed basketball in my eyes, and I've said it on the show before. The thing, the thing that hurt the former is that Kentucky basketball now this year has fifth-year seniors. When you have a fifth-year senior playing against a guy that's, let's say, a freshman that's like maybe 17, the age will show the maturity on what goes on towards the end of games, as it was just proven. So I think the former didn't adapt to that, and a lot of our guys were leaving, or we'd get the leftovers from other teams that could play better with Kentucky. That's my opinion. I think in a few years when these COVID seniors can't have that COVID year again, I think Calipari will be right back to being where he was. But there's a change just needed. I don't care what happens right now. I think everyone from Paducah to Pikeville, from what's northern? Covington? Yeah, Covington to Middlesboro to Cumberland is completely happy and satisfied with who we have as our captain right now, period. No matter what the outcome is.
Yep.
Okay. We're just under an hour. Mark, is there anything that you would like to shout out or say as we move on? I say we get ready to wrap this thing up.
No, I mean, I'm good, man. I feel like we've broke down the game. We've had a lot of people getting here and comment. That's what we want. Michael wanted to come live last night after the game. I was like, dude, it's 11:38. I'm going to bed.
I wanted to be in front of somebody who would listen to me, and I wanted to listen to you. I wanted to read your comments. I just wanted to celebrate. I could have just turned this thing on live and just did this and say, hey, guys, we won, and I would have been happy. We won.
I told him to. I told him to come on by himself, but I had to go to bed. I'm getting old.
Yeah, it'd been weird. I started to message you, Christian, see if you would do a show with me because I thought you would have. And I was like, it's bedtime. I got a bag of potatoes.
Well, he apparently woke up Lowell, so he could have jumped on.
Oh, gotcha. Well, guys, as far as moving forward here with Cats Chat, we are always trying to improve and do different things. As you guys see streaming across the bottom, if you ever want to support us, you can give to our Cash App. Cash sign, I guess. Cats Chat Pod. We do appreciate any support that you all give to us. We'll say this. My wife and I we just invested a little bit in ourselves. We look to be hopefully – sometime soon, look to be able to start selling our T-shirts that have our logo on it, us making them. We bought us a sublimation printer, and we're trying to figure out how we got to be doing this stuff. Trying to get there. So any of you sports teams out there that are looking for like team shirts, let us know, and we'll see what we can mass produce for you as well.
And I want y'all to understand, we're not wanting this support to like pat our pockets. We want it to be able to go do things and go to games and like bring you stuff, and that's. We want to have fun with it.
We've had sponsors right now on different shows, bringing you a show, bringing you a graphic or whatnot. And whatever we have in our agreement of the sponsorship that went on, nothing has seriously went into a bank account that we have kept. It's been basically turning it right back in to help promote our show on a bigger demographic globe or whatnot, or it's been able to get t-shirts to send to some of our guests or those things, or update software equipments too. So don't think that it's just, oh, well, I'm going to do this. Johnny, that's why we got this printer. So hopefully we can figure this out where we can get some more shirts at a cheaper cost too. The investment, of course, is more upfront now, but once we can get it going and then just, boom, press that thing down, we can hopefully knock out a bunch. But guys, if you do want any shirts, be ready. We'll try to sell those at a certain time very soon. Christmas is probably going to be first before we start doing this, but we got to figure out how to work this printer, what software we got to
What's a better stocking stuffer than a Cat's Chat shirt, man?
Absolutely. And guys, if you're not buying your kids Cat's Chats gear, what are you even doing as parents? Like, come on now. Goodness.
Wholesome programming.
There you go. Like, I mean, if not us, then who? Like, have y'all ever listened to Kentucky Sports Radio before? Like, man, that dude interrupts everybody. Like, we don't. Anyways, Mark, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Big Daddy Lawson. You can find me on Twitter or X at DJ Mark Lawson. You can find me on Facebook at Mark Lawson. You can find me on Twitch at Big Daddy Lawson as well, I do believe. And, I mean, you can find me just about anywhere. So, apparently I'm famous.
You are famous. More famous than Trent Noah.
Yeah, I don't think
guys, please go and subscribe to our channel. Last week when we talked about this, we were at 180. I think we're up to 192 now. So we're so close to 200. We really want to push over that 200, but we need 500 to where it actually becomes an actual account that could be business account. So please help subscribe to that, share it. If you've got 5 different accounts like we do, subscribe to all on our channel on all of those. We appreciate all that. You can find us at Cat's Chat Pod. You can find me, MD Lawson00, on pretty much any social media platform, and the whole 9 yards, Twitch, all that stuff too. My son and I, we started a gaming channel. We're going to try to stream on Sunday, I think, this weekend. It's M and M Game Room, where we'll be playing Xbox here. It's a lot of fun just to have my 8-year-old. Hopefully you guys go and watch that clip. Mark, I don't know if you watched any of it, but I cut like a small video where he ran the first route, caught his first ball, and it was a 50-yard bomb that he caught for a touchdown as Brown. And he got behind me and did a dance, and it was hilarious. He was so excited. So I'm happy I get to document this. So if nothing else, I can go back and watch these anytime. So I'm missing my son as a young child when he becomes teenage. But guys, we are so thankful for all the views that we've had for so long on here. We're glad and we're happy for all these new people that are commenting too. So thankful for you guys. And if it weren't for you all, we would just be talking without the camera on, basically. So we love you guys, and we want to hear back from you. We love your comments, and we love interacting with you all. If y'all ever want to, I don't know, jump on the show and talk with us a little bit, let us know. We've done an episode once where we shared some links, but we enjoy your interaction. But we've rambled for over an hour now, and I've said some truth. I may have threw in some lies, and I might have stretched the truth just a tad bit too. But if there's anything that you hear that I mean wholeheartedly that I can say to you, these are the most 3 important things that you can live your life by. Number 1, love God. Number 2, love others. And number 3, love Kentucky sports.
God bless.